So this is like our dummy site that we have it on, which looks, I'm sure the Hovr widget doesn't look much different on your site, but as you can see, it opens, it closes, people can move it around if they're looking at your site and it's in the way of content. But when you expand it, if you've got all of the different tiles activated from your dashboard, which I'll flip over to after we look at this, then these are the things that you've got. So the networking tile, it could be called live attendees. It could be called live community members, whatever the people who are looking at your website are called to you. That's what this is for. So no one is here right now from our team because they're all over where you are on the East Coast. And I think they're probably all doing something else for the day. But if anyone was here, I would see them listed in this here now area. Since they're not, I can see them in the recent area. And with this, I can hover over anyone and I'm able to either, like with Christy, I'm already connected. So I can go into her profile and I can go out to any of these social media pieces that she shared with me. I can direct message her with this little bubble. I can look at more of her profile here. But if I go to someone like Ryan, he's got a public profile. So he has a few things he's sharing publicly, but we're not connected yet. So you can choose as a site visitor or attendee whether you want your profile to be public or private. If it's private, I won't be able to see any of this information until I connect. But if it's public, like Ryan's, then I can see it. And then if I want, I can connect with him so that I keep him with me after the event is over or after I'm done with this session of networking. So kind of cool things there. And then this is kind of where we're seeing the most traction so far in the event space is the live chat thread. So this can be called a forum, threaded discussion, whatever you want to call it. These headers and subheaders are completely customizable, as well as the subheader that appears under the Hi There Andrea and the colors. Everything can be branded to look just like you. So in these chat channels is where we've seen the most traction so far for partners with events. We just did in Luxembourg 2 months ago, we did the Relay for Life with the Cancer Foundation, and they had it up for 48 hours. And it just was an amazing chat feed that went with their kind of live stream of what was going on with all the virtual running. So in here, you can add any comments that you want, of course, but you can also have threaded discussions. You can react to things. You can self-moderate as an attendee by flagging comments or muting a person if you don't want to hear from them anymore. And you can also add in any type of document that you want. So you can add in, if you want to add a resume, you can. If you want to add a photo, a video, a link to YouTube that'll populate in a thumbnail, really anything that you want, you can add there so that it is a fully interactive and immersive experience of chatting with others. So aside from that, when you keep continuing down, you have this connections tab. This is anyone you've connected with at any time using Hovr. So if I'm on Michelle's website and I see the Hovr widget, I sign up for an account, I'm good to go. And then I leave your website and I have some connections that I connected with, and then I go somewhere else. Maybe I go to an event that's using Hovr. If I sign in, since I'm using a single sign in or seamless sign in, as we're calling it, account, I can either log in with my Gmail account, my Microsoft account, a phone number, or an email address, but they're all going to link back to my same one account. So even if I'm on an event next week, I'll still see those connections that I made on your website too. They'll all be here so I can go back and I can continue to go to their social media that they shared with me, or I can direct message them. I can still view things about them, etc. And this search function, I can search by name, but I can also, as of next week, I'll be able to search people by location, by work industry, by interest, all kinds of different search functions and filters so that I can find other people within an event or within my connection specifically that I want to talk to. Next, direct messaging, just as it sounds, they're direct messages. So you come in here, just like most other social media platforms, this is where they all live, and you can create new ones. You can search the ones you have. You're able to come in, send any of those document types or file types, just like we were talking about before. You can also reply to a thread, react to a thread, pin something if it's really important to put up at the top. Next week as well, with this deployment we're doing tomorrow, we'll have the option to block people and block and report, so that just like on Facebook, they can't send you a message anymore. You don't see anything that they're putting in the channels. And if you report them, it goes not only to the organizer of the event or the site publisher, but it comes to us too, so that we can make sure everything is good on our end. On the direct messaging and the chat channels, we do have one layer of moderation that we provide, which is a third-party profanity filter. So it filters for profanity and hate speech. But beside that, it is self-moderation like most other platforms are. And then this bottom little tile that I'm not going to click on yet because it's not perfected until tomorrow's push is this one-to-one video pairing. So this is that tile that I was telling you you'll be able to click into, and it'll randomly match you with someone else who's on the site at the same time or at the event at the same time, which is a pretty cool thing. The video will pop up. I can send you some screenshots. The video will pop up. It'll have the person's entire profile underneath it before you get matched together. So you can look at it, preview it for a second. And then right now it is set at a, I believe, 5-minute chat time. That's something that we're playing with for how long it will actually be. But then once that video collapses and you're done talking, it'll ask if you hit it off, if you do want to connect with that person, and then we'll move on to someone else. So that'll be a great video piece to pair with the video piece that will show up beside someone's name here as well. If you are connected and if you're there at the same time, you'll see a little video icon up here and you'll be able to start a video call proactively too. So those are the things that we have right now. Coming down the pipeline, we've got a lot of other things like I was telling you about the video specifically. First, we've got some great things in terms of Brandcast is what we're calling it. So you can basically run a Clubhouse audio stream through your website, through the widget. So what it will require from your end on the dashboard, which I'll show you, you'll, from a site publisher or event organizer point of view, you'll start it, you'll invite people and allow permissions to the people who are guests. You'll all chat together. It'll be audio only at first, but our second iteration of it will include a video stream too. But for the people on your website or on your event to access that video or audio, they will have to sign on here onto this widget. So whether that's through the seamless sign-on, or if you do have the integration as an event platform, if you're registered into that event platform, that will automatically be your sign-on. However you're signing into it, you're going to need to be signed in to get that content delivered to you, which then for you as a site publisher or an event organizer means you get the insights from every single one of the people that listened to you or watched you. So you're getting every bit of information that they've got in their profile, but also you get their time on site. You're going to get networking activity of what they were participating in, what your most popular chat channels are, how long people are staying on video calls with each other, lots of insights of everything we can give you on an analytics dashboard.
This is so neat. This is what we've been waiting for.
I'm so excited that you love it. You have questions so far while I'm on this side? I mean, that's pretty much a wrap up of what we've got right now, shipped as is. And it also, like I said, it's GDPR compliant, CPPA compliant, and we've got all of those documents in this little drop down menu that's up at the top of the widget if people want to look at it further.
Perfect. And that's something I already know that I love about Hovr, because compliance and some platforms don't abide by that. So yeah, before we go to the back office, I just had a few clarifications, and I'm so glad that you got through all of those. So a couple questions with the live chat thread. Mm-hmm. Who is that open to? Is that anybody that has been on that particular site, whereas the networking or the direct chats, is that one-to-one? Or me as the host of the website or host of the event, do I get to see those one-to-ones, or are those private versus the threads, are they public? So can you just kind of clarify those two different tabs?
Yeah, definitely. So right now, direct messages, right now and going forward, the intention is to always keep those private. So it is a one-to-one. If I want to chat with you at an event, the organizer will never see exactly what we sent, but they will see that we messaged each other. I will have that insight to show you, but it won't say, and they said this about wanting to go on a trip together next week or something. It will just say this many messages were sent, these people connected and were interacting, but it won't get more granular than that because of privacy. As far as the live chat threads, live can be a little bit of a deceptive word because you don't have to be live to see exactly what's going on at this moment. Anyone with access to this URL when the widget is live can go in and see the entire thread of the chat, as well as interact with it, reply to things, etc. One thing that will be probably ready toward the beginning of July is a privilege setting so that events maybe with VIP ticket holders can have different privileges than those with general admission, so that they can get into different rooms that you may choose to lock. So we don't have that yet, but in the next probably 6 weeks, we're thinking.
Okay. Can we just tap that one so we can take a closer look one more time? Okay, and then all of these, which we'll look at the back end side, which I took a quick peek, but you can change these. So you can change the ask, offers, intros, introductions, random. Mm-hmm. Can we talk a little bit more about the intros? Because that's one of my favorite things, and I absolutely hate but love sending intros, because what I like about sending intros is connecting people to my other connections, but it's just kind of redundant, whether it's on LinkedIn or email or whatever. So how easy can I introduce, because I know how it is on the app or how it used to be. So can we just kind of run through that, like on the front end,
Sure. So
how I would introduce somebody?
Yeah, the introduction feature from the app is actually not here yet, but it's coming. Okay. This is a chat channel that we've set up in the meantime to kind of act as an intermediary. So in this intro channel, which you can choose not to have if you don't want to have it, but if you do want to have it, how we've seen people most successfully use it is say, hey, I am looking for introductions to anyone who does XYZ, is in the media space, does this, etc. And then people will reply in the thread, that's me, let's connect. And then they connect with each other by hovering over their photo and they start a direct message conversation. But those follow-up features, they're coming. They will be here in probably the next 3 to 4 weeks, because those are some of the coolest things that we've got. I know you loved them the most, but figuring out how to make them work with all of these different integrations and where we'll send people to when a widget is no more, when the event page is done and things like that has been a little bit more of a journey. So we'll get there, but right now this is just a chat channel and they can all be customized. They can even be customized to the point if you don't want all of these chat channels, if you wanted to put this widget on top of a specific landing page on your website that also has a Zoom integrated screen. So you have a live feed on your website from Zoom, and then you also have the Hovr widget over it. Maybe you only want one channel. So in that case, it would just say chat right here. Someone would click into it and this would be one big chat thread. So if that's something you want, instead of broken out channels, you can totally do that too.
Very cool. Okay, so that makes a lot more sense. And also because I've seen some of the older features, but they're coming over, so that's good. And I do like that they can connect individually that way. So that makes a lot more sense how it's set up now versus how it's going to be. Okay, cool. So I'm just taking another look. The networking, live chats, connections, perfect, direct message. And then we can always do another follow-up when we have the video. And I get to play with that next week. Okay, cool.
I'm excited to show you.
Right. Perfect. Okay, so that's kind of the front end. Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. And right now those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What are you calling those channels? Like 5 channel features? Is that what you call them, just terminology-wise?
We're calling them tiles.
Got it. Okay, so you have the 5 tiles.
Yeah, 5 tiles, and you can choose if you don't want one of them. Maybe you have someone who for their event, they don't want anyone direct messaging each other. From the back, you can deselect that. So it won't be there. So you don't have.
Are these preset, you get only the 5, or can you have more than 5? Or is it, this is your networking tab, this is your live chat threads tab, like you only have those 5, no more, no more, or can you create them?
So right now it's just the 5 and they all have a very specific function, but you can take them out if you want. We are adding one in that we'll have within the next 4 weeks. That's a custom tile, hopefully sooner than that. Is a custom tile that I think you specifically will really like. It's for sponsor and speaker exposure. So what that will look like, we're working to come up with in the next 4 to 8 weeks as well, a social feed. It'll be some visual interest here, but it will be very much like the other version of Hio's platform where we have a logo there. It will be kind of swipeable or scrollable, if you will, side to side, and you can put in the pictures of speakers, pictures of sponsors. People can click on them to go out to their websites, and then we will give you all of the aggregation summary of those clicks on your dashboard as the publisher too.
With a call to action?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's in the works right underneath their name.
That would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense. Okay, awesome. Oh my gosh, I am loving this. Even though I've loved everything that you've done so far, this is exactly what I was hoping to see.
Good. I'm so glad. And of course, when you're playing around with it, any feedback that you or your team has, please tell us. Or if you're like, oh my gosh, I wish this feature was there. We have a running list of things that people are requesting. So if they get a certain number of hits of requests, then we just start diving into it to see how heavy the lift would be.
Got it. All right, so that's kind of the front end. And I want to respect your time also. Do you want to show kind of the back end? Because I played around with it.
Yeah, I can show it really quickly. I do have something in 10 minutes, but it will be no time at all because it's very simple. Now that you've seen what the front end does, or the front end, the back end will be really easy to see. So I know you were asking, I have this one Hovr on my website and then I have this other website. What do I do in that scenario? So you can see here, if you have more than one hover, they'll just go different places. Like they'll have different activity. You can set them up completely personal to where it lives. So if you do want to have the same one on your website as you do somewhere else, you can choose, I'll click into one of these that I have here. You can choose multiple websites, and then you'll be able to put the same code on multiple websites. That means that anyone who's on your M&E events website and anyone who is on your group website at the same time would be able to see each other here in this networking tile because they're on the exact same code of widget. However, if you make a separate one, or if you just duplicate the widget but generate a different code, that would mean that only the people on your website can see each other and only people on the group site can see each other. So whichever way you want to do that, it's totally fine. You can also set it for a specific subdomain. You can do pages that start with so that it does go span across multiple, maybe membership pages or something like that, or something behind a portal. Anything that you want to do, you can with these.
Okay, that was my big question behind the portal thing. So because you get your widget, and I know where to add that widget on my website, I don't know where to add your widget on a portal, like onto the groove. There's no, because it's a website builder kind of, but basically I just link the domain. So that's where, maybe not for this call, but that's more techie.
Yeah.
Of we get the widget, we get the iframe code, super easy to copy paste. It's the portal side, or if somebody has Kajabi or ClickFunnels or any of those, it's like, where do we put that to make it work?
Right. And one thing that we've run into is that all of those website builders, the different platforms, if you will, they are not willing to tell you where to put a third-party snippet of code. So what we found for most, the code changes based on which one of these integration selections you choose. So if you do say pages that start with, and you put in the exact pages that starts with URL right here, then your code should, when you get it, be able to be copy pasted into either the top two places are the footer or right before the body tag. Those have worked in 95% of cases, but if it doesn't work for you, then we can get some of our tech team on the phone and we'll troubleshoot with you.
Awesome. Okay, that is good to know, or even for clients. And just to clarify too, on the page right before this with the multiple, whether it be websites or communities, or could this also work if you have multiple events? Like if you're an event planner and you have multiple events going on. Because you mentioned different websites, but you could treat these as different events as well. Is that correct? Different audiences?
Yeah, you could. And we'll have, starting soon too, we will have a start and end time function. So if that organizer wants it to collapse down off of the page at 7 p.m. on a Sunday after their weekend event is over, then that will trigger it. So you can have as many of these as you want on the same domain. So, and then if you want to do more than one domain, then it just is with the sales guys to how they figure that out with the contract. So that's not my part of it.
Right. Okay. That's a great talking point. Again, maybe not for this call, but if you're an event organizer planning other people's events, then each client actually needs their own account rather than an agency model where you're bringing in multiple different, because every organizer, every event probably has their own domain.
Right. And I do think we're working on a way for you to be able to add those into one account. It's just the billing structure and things that are tied to it will be completely different. So we can talk about that when I know more about it.
That's fine.
I don't know.
No, I think I just wanted to better understand, or if you are either a business owner or planner putting on your own events, that's fine because they're all under your brand, all under your domain. But if you're putting on events for other clients, then unless they are okay with their event actually being hosted under your domain or your agency, it's actually a separate account altogether. So that helps me visualize. Just again, you have your platforms, you have the planners, and then you have the users. So
yeah, you got all different kinds of people. But yes, you're completely right. And then I'm sure you kind of looked around inside, but it's super easy to customize all of these things too. Like this one only has 3 tiles. When you go into branding, you pick any hex color you want. You can type it in or just select it. This is going to be your subheader underneath the "Hey there, Andrea," like "Hey everyone, network now," or whatever you want to say.
okay.
Customization, this first primary hex color is going to be this top bar. The secondary hex color is going to be the ombre effect on these tiles, the outline. And then when you go into layout, this is where you can really customize what everything is called. So this is where you can change live attendees to be guests or site visitors, whatever you want it to be called, along with the text description. You can change all of those however you'd like. When you get down to this chat area, you're able to not only edit the name of it and the subheader, but also the number of chat channels. So this is where if you only wanted that one chat channel, it will switch you over to only having one. And then you can also, if you do have multiple chat channels, you can choose who can create them. Most people want to hold that power as the event organizer or the site publisher, that only they can create the channels. But if you do want, you can allow for anyone else there to create channels.
Perfect. Okay, that makes sense. And I like how easy, streamlined.
Yes, everything's easy. Then you can customize your chat channels. And then this is the live preview. So this little preview follows you along the whole way. And then once you're done, you'll go back to your dashboard and click this little view code symbol, and it'll pop out right here. So you'll copy and paste this into the website wherever you can add that custom HTML. It might take a couple tries. The footer and right before the body tag are the most common places for it to be placed. But once it's in, the cool thing is that if you make any changes, come back and edit it on your dashboard, you don't have to go do anything with the code again. So it'll dynamically push those changes, even if you're making them like the second of the event. So you can come in and edit them here anytime you want.